All right, how's everyone?
Great.
I'm doing outstanding. Just want to start off by I know later today is the Jeff Dickerson Award, and I know he meant a lot to this room. Obviously, it's the 2 year anniversary of the passing, and all you guys have the shirts on. All y'all have the shirts on, and he meant a lot. So, obviously, thoughts and prayers always with y'all. I know he meant a lot. Also, uh, want to acknowledge and talk about the fact that the news came out yesterday with Hester being a finalist for the third consecutive year. Obviously, Hester means a lot to this organization, means a lot to the city of Chicago, has had an impact on my life as well. Just the excitement he brought to the game, how he changed the game. I mean, 20 career touchdowns is insane when you think about it from the returner position. And when you think about all the people that are in the Hall of Fame, when you just sit back and think about how prestigious that is and all the people that are in the Hall of Fame, you think about guys that have had a huge impact on their position and a huge impact on the game of football. And to me, that's Devin Hester. So I really hope that that happens this time. And with that, we'll open it up to questions.
Considering the rule changes on special teams, do you think we'll ever see a player like Devin Hester ever again?
I think God made only one Devin Hester. I don't think we'll ever see another player like Devin Hester again. I know I probably won't in my time. Some people may, maybe our kids or somebody will, but the impact that he's had on the game and the way he changed the game is just, when you really go back and study it, it's unbelievable. And I don't ever think that you'll see a player change their position the way he changed his position in a return game.
Can you put into perspective maybe how different game planning was, like in Hester's era, whether it was preparing for him or for others that were that dangerous with the rules that were in place, and just like how different that would have been preparing for Devin Hester compared to what it is now?
Yeah, so preparing for Hester back when he was rocking and rolling was extremely tough. It changed the type of punters we have in the game now because now they have to be more directional. He cost a lot of coaches a lot of sleep. Like it was tough to try to keep the ball away from him on punt and on kickoff. And just the way the rules have changed, uh, I'm glad that Devin was here before the rules changed so that the whole world can appreciate how special his talent really was. The rules have impacted that on kickoff for sure.
Is the closest thing we have to him today Cordero?
That's a good question. For modern day era, and we got a huge challenge this week with Cordell. Obviously, he was here as a player. He's a kickoff returner only. That's the difference between him and Hester. But again, career nine career touchdowns, got us last year on one. I mean, he's outstanding. He's going to be a tough challenge. Their whole personnel is tough. I mean, they got good specialists in Koo and Pinion and Mac Hollins, and they have a good unit that we need to be prepared for. But to answer your question, he is the closest thing and trending that way. He's one of the better kickoff returners to see this game. But what makes Devin special is he was kickoff return, he was punt return, he returned field goal returns on monster kicks. Like he's off the charts great. Just greatness. When you talk about greatness, and I think every special teams coach in the NFL feels that way. So he made it to where you could not watch fourth down. You had to watch it.
Why do you think we're on year 3 now and he's not in?
I'm not really sure about that. I don't really know how all of that works. I'd be making stuff up if I just told you why we on year. I don't know. All I know is when I look across the league, and I've been studying this league for 17 years, been lucky enough to be here, and a lot of coaches have been here a lot longer than me. But that dude is, I mean, his career was impeccable, and I don't know why it's 3 years. I thought he should have been the first ballot, honestly.
When you talk
to your kickoff team about CP, what are the things you point out skill set wise that they have to kind of be honed in on?
Yeah, really maintaining your leverage. Obviously, he's a dynamic football player. Obviously, you do not want the ball in CP's hands at all. You try to keep it away from him as much as possible, but you have to cover at sometimes, and that's something we talked about in the beginning. Like as the weather changes, we have to be better at that. So it's going to be a huge challenge for our guys this week. I mean, he is a damn good player.
Where were you when you found out Cairo got his extension, and what was the mood like?
Great question. When I found out, because Poles and those guys do such a phenomenal job of communicating. So, and I know that that they had been working on it. These guys upstairs in the personnel department are phenomenal when it comes to communication, what's going on. So I kind of got the news before the news broke, but I could tell you my feeling when I saw it come across was I was just elated. First of all, because Cairo always talks about his 3 C's, which are confidence, consistency, and being clutch. And when I think about the kicker that I want to coach at the Bears, I just couldn't be more excited for him and his family. He's such a good person. He works his tail off, and really, when you talk about a guy that's the pillar of all 3 C's I just talked about, it's him, and he wants to be here, and he's been as consistent as they come. So I am like, I guess I got overjoyed even again, just because of the person he is and how hard he works. And I'll just give you a peek behind the curtains. When we talked about it in the meeting room, the field goal team, the whole team went nuts, and the chants broke out, and they went and hugged him and tried to pick him up. That's how revered he is and how much people love him. So we're ecstatic to have him and really appreciate Ryan and his crew getting that done.
He said that for him, like having this done before free agency, like allows him that he can be here. He could work out here during the off season. How big of a value is that for a kicker? And just for like a coach too, knowing that like you have your guy already locked up before you hit the off season.
I think it's huge because now we can move on to the next area that we need to move on to. And he's proven that he's deserving of it. Even last week with you can call it a game winner, or basically he sealed the deal for us there. And that was what a great sequence of football that was. Trent punting that ball 57 yards, right, down inside the 9-yard line, and then the defense going 4 and out, already being in red zone, already basically being right there, and then Cairo to be clutch and close it out and give everybody a hell of a Christmas, was outstanding. So just again, just happy for him, happy for the operation, happy for the whole field goal team. And we just want to keep him going. We obviously had 2 more games left. The season's not over, so we need to finish on the right note.
Richard, I just had one quick question. Is there a difference between kickers who embrace the challenge of kicking at Soldier Field in December and guys who don't? It seems like certain guys are headstrong and like Robbie, really embrace it and not just are undaunted. Cairo seems that way. Is there a difference? In your career, have you noticed a difference between guys who do and do not embrace that challenge?
And kicking in Soldier, or just in tough set?
Especially in December.
Usually the best kickers in the National Football League, which we got 2 of them coming in, will be on the field this week. And their guy, Koo, he's one of the best in the league, and Cairo is one of the best in the league. They always embrace any environment they're in, and they got a mentality that's a next kick mentality. It's not about a streak. It's not about anything. It's not about stats. It's not about any of that stuff. It's one kick at a time, next kick mentality. How can I help my football team win?
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year now, coming up, right?
Because you look big picture this season in terms of your efforts and your progress in trying to mold the system around Justin. What's kind of your overall assessment of how that's gone?
That's a pretty intense question. I think that's something that you do after the season, that you reflect on something like that. I think when you're in the thick of it, you're you're just trying to do everything you can to find the best way to get the game plan together to go win the game. So I think there's been a lot of really cool progress throughout the offense, and I think Justin's been a part of that too, though, as you know, just on a general statement reflecting on that stuff.
Justin said yesterday that, I think it was after the thumb, it came back from the thumb injury, Flus gave him something that said 200, so it was like 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers in a game. What, is that a piece of paper? Like, just very basic question, like, what is that?
Yeah. What do you mean? What is that?
He said he gave me something and said 200.
Yeah, no, he just gave him that. They sat down, they talked about it, the importance of those things, and then again, he just gave him that mindset of you know, taking care of the football, you know, making sure that we limit the sacks, and I think since that point, you know, Justin's done a fabulous job with dealing with both of those.
So it wasn't a physical item, it wasn't a.
I mean, if it was, it's not something we have hanging up in the quarterback room. So,
Luke, understanding the big picture with this franchise trying to find its long-term quarterback, how have you seen Justin progress towards that goal?
again, that's a deeper question than just about where we're at right now. I think just regarding Justin, there's been a tremendous amount of growth. I mean, where he's just in this season alone, how far along he's come, you know, taking care of the football, being in control of the game. I think that's been the coolest part since he's come back. I just feel like he's in control when he's out there. I think that's been a lot of fun to see. And like we talked about already, like the sack part of it, he's limiting the sacks. We're not turning the football over, and we're giving ourselves a chance to win those games. And now we're doing that.
In what ways have you seen him kind of make the biggest strides individually?
I think there's been a lot of them. I think he, you know, his ability to progress is better. His footwork is better. I think the protection part of it is outstanding. The completion percentage part of it is good. He's throwing the ball accurately. I think the extended play part of it has been a lot of fun to see him progress through that. So there's been a lot of areas. I'm leaving other stuff out, but I think there's been a lot of really cool stuff that Justin has grown through this year.
Luke, how do you set that standard, especially with emphasizing no interceptions and no sacks, and still allow him to be free and be aggressive and take chances? And that seems like a delicate balance.
It definitely is. But at the same time, I think that's part of the experience that you get, both on the practice field and in the games. I think as you experience those situations, you realize which ones are a more calculated risk and not, right? And so a Hail Mary throw at the end of the game, like we're not going to stress about what happens in that situation, but there's times that in the pocket you can see him being very conscious of 2 hands on the football and making sure that he's taking care of it so that if somebody he doesn't see hits him, he's still going to have the ball at the end of that play. So there's a lot of different aspects of it, but I think it's a reality of our game is that you have to take care of the football. And then when there's those moments in the game when you can take a chance, you take them. And I think those experiences of knowing when those show up, that's just, you get those by playing. There's not like you watch film, you watch other guys, you see how they do it. We talk about it in the room. I think those experiences, just the communication that we have in the room constantly helps kind of make you, enlighten you to those certain situations as well. But the experience that he's gotten, you can see his comfortability in handling those situations.
Body of work from Justin against Arizona. I think he was asked about this afterwards, so was Flus. 170 passing yards, 97 rushing. The sustainability of having a quarterback who's roughly around those figures every game versus somebody who's maybe throwing for 300 plus. How do you balance the sustainability of that and what can get you consistent wins when you know you have somebody who has that dual threat set that another quarterback might not?
Yeah, I think that the delicate balance of it all is just like it's more about how you go get those yards, right? I mean, are you taking a pounding and getting those 97, or is it an efficient 97 and then just a hit here or there? Because there's guys that throw for 300 and take a pounding sitting in the back of the pocket. That's maybe even worse, So I think part of that is all, it's all part of his game, and I think the awareness part of it. I think what I get amazed by when I watch guys like Patrick Mahomes is like their just awareness of like they don't get hit because their just spatial awareness is just amazing, right? And I think that's what you see with Justin now as he continues to play and get the more experience, that all of that is just getting better and better for him so that you avoid those hits. I think Coach was joking about like his sliding or something the other day, right? Like that's part of it too, right? I mean, that's part of learning how to avoid that. No, okay, it's 1st and 10 and I can get 3 instead of like fighting for another extra 3. I don't need to do that. And so that's all part of that maturity.
Justin mentioned that he thought some of the inconsistencies offensively were a mix of lack of execution and complacency. Is that how you have observed it, or what have you thought of that?
I mean, it's always going to come down to a lack of execution. I think that's part of it, right? Whether it's a particular person or whether it's the chemistry of two people making decisions together, being on the same page. That's the growth of an offense, right? I think there's 32 teams that are trying to master that craft, right? And it's the impossible perfection, right? We're chasing it, and as long as you continue to get closer and closer to it, I think that's the goal. And I think hopefully the other part isn't true, because guys can't do that. Not in this league. They'll, no matter who you're playing, they'll come up and grab you if you do.
In Philadelphia, we see the tush push and we see a quarterback with really strong legs and a good offensive line. Make short yardage look like not a problem. Can you do that here? And especially in your third and short and fourth and short situations, is it as easy as just giving the ball to maybe the best running quarterback in the NFL and letting him do his thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want to discredit what they do. I think it's pretty obvious that they do it really well, and they have a plan of attack and how they do it and who's doing it. All that stuff is all really important because, I think, like we've alluded to in the past, all 31 other teams have tried to, emulate that, and I think we've probably emulated as well as anybody else. That they do. I mean, it's incredible, right? I mean, they do a great job, and when you watch them do that, it's what you think is what stands out is just that immediate push, right, where the yard already happens, and then here comes 2 or 3 more yards after that, even for those guys. So it's pretty incredible what they're able to do with that.
But there are people that look at like the direct snap to Roshan on 3rd and 1 and go like, boy, that's a little cute. What did you like about that play in general? And if Kmet were healthy, would he have been the pulling blocker in that situation?
No, it was just it's a play that we run. I don't even know how many times, 12, 15 times a year, that you run. And so just a poor what do you want to say, miscommunication? No, but Cole would have done the same thing Bobby did, if that's what you're asking. He was doing his job. He's got the widest, and then it's a gap protection. So everybody else has a gap inside, and then Bobby cleans up the edge. So Bobby was right on that particular play.
Mercedes scored a touchdown Sunday, and when we talked to him in the locker room, he was much more excited to talk about what he put on film in the run game. You've obviously known him a long time. How do you kind of encapsulate what his presence and his value has been this year with this group?
Yeah, that's the immeasurable stuff that is just huge for holding a team together, holding a unit together, holding a position group together. I think one of the coolest things in my mind that I've got to see is just, you have this guy that's in the room that's ascending to be a really high level player that has Mercedes there to kind of to lean on him and see the kind of professional that he is, the mentality that he brings, all that stuff. I think those intangible things are what had me I don't want to say begging, but saying this dude's going to make a difference for an impact. And then on top of it, he's out there doing this job at an elite level still at his age, and so that's all really cool stuff. I think people just have that immediate respect for his presence, both physically, but even more so, the mindset that he brings to that room every single day.
Look, one of the knocks on Justin outside this building is that he doesn't read defenses well, whether there's merit to that or not. What's your analysis of how well Justin reads defenses and progresses in that part of the game?
I think Justin handles what we do really well. I think, we ask a lot of him, not just in the pass game, in the run game, protections, and pass game. And I think he handles all that stuff really well. I think Justin is a highly intelligent person that handles a lot of stuff that we ask him to do. We're able to do more because of how much he can handle. So I think from that perspective, I think he does an excellent job.
There was a moment in the game Sunday where the TV copy picked up Justin kind of yelling at the sideline. It almost looked
He's
like
yelling at me.
I know. It looked like you had a smile on your face. I'm guessing stuff like that happens more than the TV actually picks up. But just what was your explanation?
Those types of things usually happen when I have my head down and I don't have my head up. He's like, hello, But no, that's just when the buzzer's not out. If you're not hearing it, there's a natural panic to hey, give it to me, right? No, but that's it. We have a lot of fun with stuff like that. But that happens. People that I've been with, that happens all the time. So.
Luke, based on where you guys were picking last year, there was thoughts that Bijan might be in the mix there. When you were doing your pre-draft review of who he was as a player, what were some of the things that jumped out to you?
Yeah, he was incredible. I think you talk about a guy that had every trait that you're looking for in a running back. It's simple as that. That's it. Receiver, runner, blocker, athletic, can run through you, run around you, make you miss. Like he was somebody that was dynamic, and there's a reason why he was drafted as high as he was.
Good afternoon. Good to see you guys again. It's a special day honoring Jeff Dickerson. I know he meant a lot to a lot of people in this room. I wasn't here when he was here, but I've heard a lot of good things about him. And the award, this is a good time to recognize and celebrate his life. So my thoughts and prayers are with you guys today. So appreciate you.
What's the key to getting Bijan to the ground?
It's easier said than done. I think the best way to kind of defend him is population. You got obviously he tests leverage of defenders. He can stretch the edge. He can stick his foot in the ground. He can make an abrupt cut. But the first guy's got to make a secure tackle, and then you got to have population with the other guys swarming to the ball. I think we have to, our goal is to get 7+ guys on the screen at any given play. So I think if we hold true to that, we'll be okay. He's a special player, and he's going to be hard to stop. But we're up for the challenge, I think.
Is Gibbs the most similar player you've faced this year?
I tell you, Gibbs they're a little bit different. I mean, Bijan's a little bigger. Gibbs, he has amazing acceleration. The guy's like one step at full speed, and on a field full of fast guys, it's just glaring, But Bijan has patience and rhythm, and then he has the in and out cut thing that he does, and he's also an excellent receiver. He's got almost 50 catches or somewhere around that. So they use him in a different way, but both of them are really excellent players.
Andrew, when you look at their skills guys, whether it's Bijan or Pitts or London, what strikes you as the collective and what they're able to do offensively?
Well, they really got a high level of skill with those guys. You look at Bijan. He can. They use him in different areas. They'll use him in receiver packages. Obviously, he tests the ball. He can get to the edge. He fits their zone scheme really well. And then you got Pitts. You got 81. You got 5. All these guys are like clones. They're all big. They all play big at the catch reception point. They all got great play strength with the balls in the air. So they pose a unique challenge, They all have size and length, which is pretty unique to have that many guys like that,
A cornerback question generally about Tyreek. When we watch film, when they show highlights on the draft of cornerbacks, they always are much more physical than they can ever be in the NFL. And the question is, well, how can you get away with that? For a physical guy like him, how difficult has that transition been to be a physical corner in college to an NFL cornerback? And what's from your viewpoint, how has he done in that? It's making that.
Well, he is, obviously, with a rookie, any rookie making that adjustment, playing corner in this league is a lot different than in college. Because college, you can ride guys much further along down the field. They extend the contact range, where it's a lot different here, And so, there's going to be a learning curve with them. What you want to try to teach them is give them discernment, put them in those situations, and then kind of coach them and talk them through. But at all costs, he's going to still be aggressive because that's who he is, The best thing you try to do with a kid like him is you coach the position of the player. Because usually if he's in the right position, they got a high probability of making the play. Where you get in trouble is when you're not in position to make the play and then you're out of the framework of your body and you got to try to extend and make plays. That's when they can get in trouble. But when you're in phase with the route, you can look up and play the ball. That's when all the really cool stuff happens. So with young players, sometimes it takes a while to get them to that point and get them to understand that. And this league is a little bit different than college.
Jaquan had a pass breakup in the game where it was like he was simultaneously wrapping up but also broke up the pass.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's like the ideal situation, easier said than done, but just I guess instead of going for the big hit and doing that so fundamentally sound, I guess what's the challenge of that, but also as a coach, what did you like about seeing that?
Well, it's the right way to do it. In the way the game is being taught now, a guy, he did a nice job getting back. He planted. His angle was really cool to see. He improved on that. And then there's always a decision point in there with the player, Do I go for the hit? Do I try to play the ball? No, you go for the hit. You get in alignment with the player, and then if you get there early, you play the ball. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in that progression that you have to teach in it. And so he did exactly what he was coached to do. He was there when the ball got there. So you now it's about teaching him how to tackle a guy, how to put his head up to the side, how to strike him in the proper area, even when the receiver's changing levels. So there's a lot that goes into it. I just thought he did a really nice job of that.
Andre, when you look at physical corners like Tyreek and Smitty, do you ever think to yourself, I wonder what they look like at safety?
Yeah, I love seeing those guys. Even when I was back in Seattle, we love those big guys. I just think the way the game's being, the receivers are now. The receivers, all these guys, 6'3", 6'2", and I just think they're a lot of them are ex-basketball guys, and I just think if you got corners with size, you can match up with them a little bit better, especially on the outside. So I just, I like seeing those physical guys, and they're part of the team, and they. And in today's football, the ball's gonna come to the edge in the run game or the pass game. They just got to show up, and our guys been doing a good job of that.
You guys obviously have a very young secondary with Eddie Jackson kind of being the elder statesman back there. Are there ways in which you've seen Eddie's veteran experience help accelerate the growth for the guys on the field?
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of like the mouthpiece back there. The communication element that you just feel his presence because he's seen so many things. And it's not that the other guys don't know. It's just that Eddie anticipates fast, really fast. He's seen it. He sees it before it happens. He's communicating, alert this on this motion, be alert for the, that stuff is, a lot of guys can learn that stuff and see that stuff, but can they share it and process it to the other people? Some guys have a knack for that. And Eddie's, that's what makes him really cool back there.